Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to talk about this incredible conservation story. And it's not happening in some far-off rainforest or the middle of the ocean. Nope, it's happening right in our own backyards.
All right, let's just start with a number. And honestly, it's a number that's really hard to wrap your head around. Since 1970, North America has lost almost 3 billion birds. I mean, think about that. It's a staggering decline, a huge loss of life, and just sound, the sound from our skies and our neighborhoods. It's a crisis, and yeah, it can feel pretty overwhelming.
But here's the thing. What if a huge part of the solution isn't about some massive, complicated policy? What if it's about something, well, a lot closer to home? What if the power to start turning this around is literally right outside your window?
Okay, so why? Why is this happening? Let's dig into why so many of our yards have started to go silent, why that chorus of birds we're so used to is starting to fade away.
This kind of flips the whole idea of a perfect lawn on its head. A lot of our yards, maybe even yours, are filled with these beautiful plants from, say, Europe or Asia. They look great, but to our local wildlife, they're basically dead zones. Yeah, they're green, they look alive, but they offer almost zero food or shelter. Why? Well, because our local bugs, our insects, they just haven't evolved to be able to eat them.
So, okay, the next logical step for a lot of us is I'll put out a bird feeder, right? And look, it seems like the right thing to do, and it is helpful, but only up to a point. The thing is, it's based on this really big misunderstanding of what most birds actually need to really thrive.
We see adult birds at the feeder, and yeah, they love seeds. But their babies? That's a completely different story. Check this out. A whopping 96% of land birds feed their young only on insects. For those little guys in the nest, seeds just are not on the menu.
And the reason is just, well, it's simple biology. Baby birds literally can't digest hard seeds. What they need is soft, easy-to-digest food that's just jam-packed with protein. That's what fuels that crazy fast growth from a tiny little hatchling to a bird that's ready to fly. So if there isn't a constant supply of insects, the next generation of birds just can't make it.
All right, so if insects are the key, then there's one type of insect that stands way, way above all the others. This is the real deal, the true superfood that actually drives bird populations. We're talking about caterpillars. Seriously, they are the perfect baby bird food. They're soft, they're full of protein, and they're just loaded with essential fats. You could almost say they're the fuel that makes the entire bird world go round.
And the sheer number they need, it's mind-boggling. Get this, research has found that a single pair of chickadees needs to find over 9,000 caterpillars just to raise one little family of chicks until they can fly. 9,000. That's why a yard without a healthy caterpillar population is pretty much a yard where birds just can't raise a family, period.
And it's not just about the protein either. Caterpillars are also packed with fats for energy, and these things called carotenoids. Now, birds can't make these pigments on their own. They have to get them from their food. And carotenoids? They're what produce those brilliant red and yellow feathers you see. So when you see a brightly colored bird, it's basically shouting to potential mates, "Hey, I'm super healthy and I know where to find all the good caterpillars."
Okay, so we get it. We need caterpillars, lots of them. The big question is, how do we get them? Well, the answer is all about understanding this really basic relationship in nature, and then, planting our yards in a way that works with it, not against it.
It all comes down to this idea called co-evolution. Think about it. Over thousands and thousands of years, our local insects developed these very specific skills to digest the leaves of our local plants. They figured out how to get around each plant's unique chemical defenses. So a caterpillar that evolved to eat, say, an oak leaf, it can't just decide to munch on a ginkgo tree from Asia. To that caterpillar, the non-native plant is basically inedible.
And the difference this makes, it is just dramatic. A native oak tree? It can be a home and a food source for over 530 different species of caterpillars. It's an absolute powerhouse. Compare that to a non-native ginkgo tree, which supports maybe 5. That huge difference is what makes plants like oaks what we call keystone species.
And hey, it's not just about oaks. There are other native powerhouses out there too. Things like native cherries, willows, birches. Seriously, planting just one of these keystone trees or shrubs is probably the single most effective thing you can do to start generating the food that birds desperately need.
Okay, so generating all those caterpillars is step one, and it's a huge one. But to really support birds, we've got to think bigger. We need to think about their needs all year round and create a habitat that's complete and, well, resilient.
Here's a perfect example. Let's talk berries in the fall. Native berries, like the ones you'd find on a dogwood tree, are packed with these high-fat lipids. That's the perfect long-burning fuel for a bird that's about to migrate. But the berries from an invasive honeysuckle bush, they're mostly just sugar. It's literally bird junk food. It gives them a quick sugar high, but none of that essential fatty fuel they need for a super long flight.
So, beyond just the food plants, a really great habitat needs a few more things. You need a water source that's there all year, especially in winter. You need shelter, like a simple brush pile or even a dead tree if it's safe to leave it. And you need to think about winter. Just leaving your leaves on the ground and letting old flower stalks stand, that provides this super important cover for all the insects that are overwintering. And guess what? Those insects become crucial winter food for birds like chickadees.
And finally, we get to maybe the single most important rule of all. You have to avoid pesticides. I mean, insecticides are designed to do one thing: kill insects. You'd be poisoning the exact food source that you're working so hard to create. Remember, a garden with bugs in it isn't a problem. It's the sign of a healthy, working ecosystem.
So, look, it really all boils down to these 4 simple but really powerful steps. 1. Plant a keystone native, just one, like an oak or a cherry. 2. Add a simple source of water, like a bird bath. 3. When fall comes, leave the leaves where they fall. And 4. Take the pledge, go completely pesticide-free.
You see, every single native plant you put in the ground has the potential to become the foundation of an entire local food web. It's a small act for sure, but it is an incredibly powerful act of conservation, and it's one that starts with you. So the only question left is, what's your first one going to be?